I want to welcome you to a new platform called Alter. If you're looking for a platform to engage your community online, I want you to take a look at what Alter is doing. It's new, it's innovative, and it's a way to build community, not just stream your services. So I asked if I could get a personal interview with Stephanie and Andy today, and they said yes. So you are so fortunate to have these two to walk you through a short presentation of what Alter could do to transform your digital presence and disciple online. And then if you want to follow up with them, which I would encourage you to do, they can give you a full demo and help you walk through what this would look like for your church. So let's get started. I'm going to turn it over to Stephanie and Andy.
Yeah, oh, thank you, Angela. Well, we're very excited to be talking with you all and to be sharing with you our COVID project. As many of you have probably taken up hobbies of your own, we took up a small undertaking, which was how do we reimagine the way church is done online. We do stand on the shoulders of many other people like Angela who've come before us and done a lot of this work of exploring what does it mean to actually build community in an online space. I am Stephanie Leith, my colleague Andy Mann here, and I are both co-founders along with the rest of our team of Alter Live. We are an online event platform specifically designed for churches. Both of our backgrounds are in software engineering and startups. So Andy and I are actually not, I should say, we are not developers ourselves, but have a lot of experience in both entrepreneurship space and software space. And both happen to go to the same church outside of Boston, Massachusetts. So we started building Alter in June last year as we started working with a local church nearby us, helping them get online. And little did we know, we unscrewed a can of worms in helping them try to get online, realizing not only is, most churches have gotten their content up, streaming up, but at the end of the day, we're really missing the heartbeat of their community, which is that face-to-face interaction. So when we started building Alter Live, we thought, what if we could bring the best of what churches are using, platforms like Church Online platform, YouTube, Facebook, with the best of what churches use, things like video conferencing platforms, Zoom, Google Meet, Microsoft Teams for, to create that face-to-face interaction. What if it could happen all on the same platform? So Alter Live is the blending of the two. You can live stream and have video conference happening at the same time. Some people have described it as it's like your living room. It's the place where you can invite people into to not just watch your content, but really meet and interact, where some of those organic conversations that happen in the hallway, bumping into each other, can happen virtually again in an online space. So what I'm going to do here is share my screen, and we're going to hop into an actual Alter event because it's way more interesting to show than tell you what Alter is like. And Angela can stop us at any time and ask questions.
I like show and tell. I think that's a good idea.
Alter is, and if you can see my screen here, we are an online browser-based platform. Great. So Alter events are all one-click links, meaning our platform, you create events within the platform that create unique URLs. You can use these URLs, to direct people into your community, into the event directly. Joining an event in Alter requires no logins, downloads, or plugins. It's supported across all browser types, so we've maximized accessibility. We also have mobile apps in development right now for both iOS and Android devices, so you'll have fully accessible across platforms for your users wherever they're joining from. So events in Alter, we are embedding your live stream feed from wherever you're originating it. Meaning when you create events in Alter, all you have to do is copy in the Facebook URL, YouTube, Vimeo URL, or embed code from certain stream providers to get this feed that you see playing here in the Alter event. You can connect pre-recorded videos, meaning if your church pre-records your services or events every week, you can connect those feeds directly from YouTube, Facebook, Vimeo, or a stream provider. You can connect scheduled events. So if you're scheduling out in advance, you can actually set up recurring events to have the same link and it'll go live at the same time every week. And you can set up truly live events. So, even if you're going live straight from a phone, we can take the feed from YouTube, Facebook, or stream provider into Altar. So it maximizes, essentially, you can think of it this way. You don't have to add anything to your workload. Altar sits on top of what you already do. You can use what you already use. So in Altar, when we join events, this is the first screen we see. We see this event live stream has already started. And if you're familiar with the Church Online platform or even other platforms where you can do things like chat, you can have both a general chat going as well as the ability to direct message other users. You can see what other members are online, and you can navigate around the platform through our welcome and navigation bar. Now, the magic of Altar, which you have not seen yet, is also the ability to do what we call watch parties and our tables. So in Altar, if you click this button at the bottom, you will enter into what we call the Pew View. So here's where you can see a visualization of everyone else who is online. Right now, just Andy and I are in this event, and you can see that Andy just took a seat here in this row. Now, in Altar, all of these rows become a private watch party with the people in that row. So if I click I see Andy seated there, and I'd like to join him. I can click into the row with him, and we're both going to appear next to each other on video conference. Now, we can unmute ourselves, we could turn our cameras off or on, and we can now actually watch this service together. So I could say something like, "Hey, Andy, so good to see you today." You can imagine all sorts of use cases might come to mind. If your church does a time of prayer with turning to a neighbor, you can now replicate that online in a way that is actually interactive. Communion, time of reflection, call and response, or my personal favorite, if your church has a time of greeting one another, or if you're a more liturgical church, passing of the peace. You can do that in Altar. It's like playing musical chairs. So from stage, you might say something like, "Go say hi to someone else," and I could leave my row here. I could go find somebody else to say hi to, go sit next to them, and hop in and out, just like you do in real life. We go to a lot of churches on Altar, you can imagine, every Sunday, and just like real life, the pastor is often corralling people to move on and to say, sit back down or choose to watch by yourself. We're moving on with the service. So this is what we call watch parties. So some things that happen during watch parties. You're automatically muted when you first join, but you can turn your mic on to talk with one another. Now, I have this video muted right now so that I can talk over it. But if this video was playing, when I unmute myself, my own video's volume is going to decrease enough that I can actually be heard over it. And so it doesn't create a big audio feedback loop. So you can actually have a real conversation during a live stream feed. You'll also notice you don't have to have your mic and video on. Again, if you want to just watch from a distance, you can easily do so without having to, necessarily sit with someone else. We have in Altar 2 what's called the hospitality team. Now, Andy's been made a greeter, and I can see him listed as a greeter here. Andy can, now I'm a logged in user, which means you see my name and profile image here, but if I choose to log out of this event and I'm an anonymous user, maybe I'm a first-time visitor to your community, or I'm my mom that I invited, and I've never been before, you'll see that even as an anonymous user, meaning I have not logged in at all, I can still watch and follow along. I can see where other people are seated. I can see who else is online. I can chat with this greeter here. So I could send him a, "Hey, I have a question" message. And Andy can do the same with me. He can send me messages as well. As an anonymous user, though, there are some things that are off limit to me. One of the balances we've tried to strike on Altar is maximizing accessibility, meaning Anyone can join this event link if you've set the status to public. Anyone can watch, follow along. But if I try to take a seat next to another user, I'm going to be prompted to log in or sign up. Or if I try to direct message someone who is not a greeter or send messages in the general chat channel here, I'm going to be prompted to log in or sign up. This is how we, give one level of authentication. I can join with my Google, Facebook, or email address. It's really simple. And if I choose to do this within the platform, let's use my Google, for example. It's just going to ask me quickly to choose the account that I want to use. I'm going to use this one. And it logs me right in. So it makes it a really seamless transition for your people. One of the other benefits of it, every time you introduce new technology, it can feel like, oh my goodness, do I have to create yet another account? The beauty of Alter is that you don't have to send homework to your people in advance, meaning they can self-register on the platform. So all you have to do is send them the event link and they can sign themselves up as they choose to. It also gives your anonymous people that one extra step to be able to actually engage. They choose when they want to start being a part of your community, maybe in a more robust way when they actually want to start interacting with other people. So this is the watch parties and event itself. Angela, any questions on this you can think people will want to know?
Well, my mind is just exploding because I know this has been a lot of work for you. But it's so great because it answers so many questions that our leaders are asking. Like when you start talking about being able to pray together, being able to see someone's face or not see someone's face. And so you have kind of this balance of, I want to be private, or I really want to be part of community and I really miss my people. Being able to do communion in a group like that, it's really, it's blowing my mind. So I'm excited that we get to share this with our leaders. Kind of moving backwards. So you talked about login. So for churches that want to collect data. So for instance, we're on Facebook. If Facebook closed down, we wouldn't necessarily have any information on our members, which is a lot of members to not have information on unless we collect that data. So by the login, are then you able then to have access to the people's email or way to contact them?
Yes, so that's one of the beauties too, is it essentially curates both a database of your members, people who have basically self-subscribed to your community in Alter, as well as analytics tracking. So you get a better idea of what engagement actually is looking like. How many anonymous people watched, how many people created accounts for the first time, how many returning people. Now, we have some basic privacy standards across the platform, as you would with anyone. But that data is captured in a way that's more meaningful than to a church.
Great. So if I post this on my Facebook page and I'm going live on Facebook, then all they have to do is just click on the link that's provided and they go directly here, and then they have the option of watching, joining, sitting in the audience, going with a group. How do they start the watch party?
Yeah, great question. So watch party is as simple as taking a seat. So if you can see my mouse here, so when I first joined, so let's say, Angela, you created this event and you posted the link on your Facebook page and said, join us for worship this Sunday. Everyone who's going to join is going to automatically join first to the live stream. If the event has not started, instead of this video is going to be a countdown timer and some pre-event slides that you can specify in advance. Now, if I want to go sit with somebody, I can click on this big button here at the bottom, and I'm going to enter into this Pew View. This is where I can see who else is already seated, or I could go ahead and grab a row early. Maybe I'm waiting for somebody to join, or I'm waiting to, or I already see one of my friends. A few other things you can do, I might not have shown, is let's say you have a really large event, maybe you have 100 people in your event, and I'm looking for Andy because I really want to sit next to him. I can actually go to the member list, find him on screen, click the three dots, click find on screen, and it'll take me to where he is actually located. Now, if I want to join Andy, I'm going to join his row here. I can click any of these seats in this four-seater row here, and I'm going to pop in right next to him. So now we're in a watch party together, and we get to see each other, have our cameras off or on as we wish. Now, a common question people ask too is, can you have more than 4 people in a watch party? So the answer is not yet, but it will be coming. So we are working on increased capacity. It's limited to 4 just for technological reasons as we've scaled the platform, but these will expand over time so that you could have more than 4 in a row. At the moment, these watch parties are, the 4 in your row. It is private, meaning that if we had 2 other people, it would just be the 4 of us talking and hearing one another. Everyone else on the event can't talk or hear us. Yeah, good question, Angela.
That question that I was going to ask is how many, because Andy's very popular. So
yeah, everybody wants to sit next to me.
We all want to be by Andy.
Yeah.
So that's great. That's good to know. That's exciting. Yeah. I really think this has the potential, if we are innovative thinkers, to open our mind to how church could look different. So instead of this banking system of one-way communication from a pastor, is that we're really asking our church members or people from outside the church to engage in conversation. And so you could really change your speaking style to ask questions and really kind of dial down into like more of a Bible study, think early church, dinner table, speaking of how Jesus, what Jesus did in our lives, and then applying that to everyday life. So I see this as, I really hope that churches will take advantage of that. And it starts from the stage, but just really allowing people to become the church, to understand that it's not just the leader, the sage on the stage that has the information, but that sharing with each other vulnerably, transparently in community in a safe place really does transform our lives and helps us move forward. So I just say bravo. I'm so excited about this.
Thank you. Well, on that note, Angela, you can ask your other question.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say the next thing in that exact same vein, when we talk about, the actual face-to-face interaction that Alter is built to facilitate. The next thing we're going to show you is the lobby view. Now, I am actually not a host on this event right now. I'm a general participant, which means Andy is going to move us to the lobby. So what you will see as a host on his end, he was able to move everyone to the lobby. I see this countdown timer. The live stream event ended, and all of a sudden my screen changes. Now we are in what's called the lobby. So the lobby is a room full of tables, as you can see here. And each of these tables are similar to what we experienced as the watch parties, the Pew View that we just saw during the event, but there's no live stream happening in this lobby state. Andy and I were seated together in a watch party. So we got transitioned together into the lobby mid-conversation. We could continue talking, and we got seated together here at the same table. But if I see Angela at a different table and I want to go say hi to her, I can hop over to another table and sit with the people at that table. I can also leave a table if I just want to see from a bird's eye view who's where, and get a feel for the room. Now, if you are not seated in a watch party during the service, you're not automatically going to get seated in the lobby. It does let you, again, choose how you want to interact and who you want to interact with. So tables, you can imagine all sorts of uses. You can start events in the lobby state. So a lot of churches that we work with recreate their virtual coffee hour by starting their events in the lobby state. They have a time of, people coming in early, greeting one another, saying hi to one another. The host might say something in the general chat like, we're going to be moving to the lobby soon. Take a chance to say hi to people you want to. And then when they move them back to to the event state, they're going to pick up that live stream feed whenever it starts. Other things you can do in the lobby. So Andy's starting to demonstrate some of these, but Andy started renaming tables here too. Now, again, on his end as a host, he can do this, but he named a table for prayer, meet the pastor, welcome table. You can identify some of these tables depending on how you want to facilitate your event. If I sit at one of these tables, I'm going to see that table name up above here. A lot of churches will have their staff log in early, grab a seat at some of these tables, spread out so that they're there. And just like in real life, that really helps. When people see an empty room, they're a lot less likely to take a seat than when they see it already full of people starting to buzz with conversation. So as you can imagine, tables are a really popular feature on Altar. There's a lot of fun things you can do with them, whether it be small group fairs, youth group, Bible studies, pre-service things, post-service things. It's a lot of fun to be able to, create that community hall feeling again in a virtual space. Angela, what questions does it bring up for you?
I was really getting excited right before you said youth group. I was like, or children's, like, like this is great. So thank you. You covered that. I think it's really seems very intuitive. So if I was, I wanted, is there a way that I could teach the people in my church or people that are following on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram, how to use it? I mean, to me, it feels intuitive, but for someone who maybe it doesn't, what tools do we have to help them?
Great question. So a few things. So in Altar itself, there is a built-in tour that people can take when they first get to the platform if they feel lost. We understand it is a unique platform compared to what most people are using. It is truly a hybrid of what you might experience on Zoom or what you might experience on YouTube or church online platform. We do find that once people, after one time on the platform, they really get the hang of it fast. But that first introduction can take a little bit of coaching. Some things that we suggest. One is Altar does lots of trainings. So at a high level, we are happy to do trainings with your church and with your team to make sure your core group of, grassroots people in your church have what they need to really communicate about the platform well. Secondly, we really encourage creating, if you don't already have that online team, that will create that, some of that social gel when people first get onto the platform, so that they can really guide people around, invite people in directly, and point things out, help with specific, tech needs if there's one user that is going to have trouble. Our team is also available every Sunday and every other day of the week for support help. If you click on this icon up here, this is like chatting with us directly. We answer this really rapidly. We're happy to answer on-demand tech questions as well. When it comes to actually launching Altar, you can imagine it usually takes between 2 to 3 weeks for a church to really get up and running on the platform. The first week is often pressing every button, run a few demo events, see what it's like, get familiar with the platform. We usually do a debrief with a church after they've had a chance to really poke it from every angle. And then you do have the option to go to church at a different church's service on Altar, see what it's like in action, so you can get a visual for what it could be like. Then by the second week, you've usually identified your online team and an early group of maybe 10 to 20 people who can all get on together to really try out the platform. By the third week, usually we help with a plan of action of who is, your first segment that you're going to roll this out to. If you're a smaller to medium-sized church, you might be ready to swap your whole Sunday service onto this platform right away. Or you might want to start with a specific group of people that you invite in. We've had some people start with their youth group or their younger audiences, and they've invited a certain segment of their audience to come, start using the platform. We've had others that start with their, 65 and older. So they start on the other end and say, we're going to start first with our population that we know it might take a little bit longer to make a technology change, and start with them before we really roll it out to the whole congregation. You can imagine too that there's going to be some people who still just want to keep watching on Facebook or YouTube. The beauty of Altar is you don't have to stop on any of those platforms either. Because we're a destination platform, you can continue streaming to what other sites that you have. Use Altar a little bit like your living room, and maybe Facebook and YouTube like your front door. Does that help, Angela?
Yeah, that's great. So I think I have 2 more questions, and maybe something will come up. But for those leaders who have had the privilege to use like church online platform or Chopped, integrating different systems to help with the chat, like I think you have showed us the difference, but maybe if you could put that into words, that would help people who are kind of used to now, after 8 or 9 months of doing this, a different platform. Like, why would this be valuable to them?
Great question. Yeah, and when I say we stand on the shoulders of other people who've come before us, CHOP is certainly one of those. They have taken, they've really pioneered some of this online church space. And that is why a lot of Altar feels very familiar to what the CHOP platform feels like. So that we recognize a lot of churches are used to a way of engaging. When it comes to a list of, side-by-side comparisons, I'll also send a link. We do have a list of kind of comparisons if you are coming from the Church Online platform of how Altar compares. But at a high level, what I'll say is Altar has everything that Church Online platform does, plus the video conferencing side of it, and the ability to initiate conversation with anonymous users. I think those are the two biggest differences. General chat, we do have announcements coming soon too, which is very similar to the moments that Church Online platform does. The ability to have recurring links so that you have a one-time link that you just connect to a button every week is very similar, as well as that ability to stay anonymous or log in as you choose to. Things that Altar does a little differently, like I mentioned, the ability for the host team to initiate conversation with anonymous users is unique. So when anonymous users log in, they get anonymous pseudonyms. Everyone then sees, how many anonymous users there are, and the greeter can actually take the first step to reach out to them as well. And then, of course, the video conference features are unique on Altar too. One of the other beauties of the platform is you can create synchronous events, and there's no limit to events. So you can have multiple events running at the same time. If your 9:30 service runs long, it's not going to kick out your 11 o'clock service. You can create separate links for those. And you can have simultaneous links too if you have, multiple tracks going at the same time, say Bible studies or Sunday schools. That's a good question.
That's excellent. As you're talking, I'm thinking about just the outward focus that we have as digital leaders now. And can I just tell you a really quick story of how we could see this working really well? So when we started Pursuit, we didn't know, like, how are we going to plug people in that want to go to church, that want to be in person, or maybe they come to our church for a while, they build a relationship and they're like, I really like you. You're not weird. Like, I want to get plugged in. And how do I do that when someone is in New Zealand or in Asia or in Uganda? And so we started building partnerships with other churches to introduce them. So this is how I see this working. If you have that mindset, and we should be thinking bigger, like, God, we can reach every corner of the world together with technology. So just yesterday, I got a video from one of our partner churches in Kampala, Uganda, and it was a video of another person, Francis, who had come to visit their church because we connected them. So how cool would it be if I could have sat Ron and Francis together here and said, hey, Francis, you want to get connected in Kampala? Here, sit with Ron and get to know Ron. Like, that could be so incredible. So I just think we have to think outside of our church box, as great as that is. Like, I'm all for, physical church and traditional church, but our goal is really to reach outside those walls. So I just want to encourage everyone who's listening to take these ideas and run with them, because God is giving us an incredible time in history to do this.
Yeah. Well, and we are so excited to be building alongside churches in that way. We're learning with you guys. The Altar team has been building software for a long time for other industries, but this is an uncharted territory for all of us in many ways. So as people want to follow up with us to try out the platform, we also are excited to learn from you guys. The more churches are on this platform, the more we learn how to do this together, and what does it mean to have, real community in an online space as we reimagine how to gather together.
Great. So Stephanie, tell our amazing leaders how they can connect with you. What's the best way to reach you? I'm happy to post the information as well with the video.
Great question. So you can reach us first by visiting our website, alterlive.com, and alter is spelled with an A. That's our main place to reach us at. If you head to our contact page, or if you click the little chat icon in the right-hand corner, that's like texting with us. We'd be happy to text back with you. You can also reach us at our email address, which is contact@alterlive.com, which can also be found on our web pages too. So you can get started today for free. So creating an account in Alter is free. You can get set up, start poking around on things. The video conference features are on the paid tiers, but we're happy to talk you through those and set up a product walkthrough with you to give you a little bit more of an in-depth tour of the platform, some of the behind the scenes, and then talk through specific use cases for your church. We know every church brings a different slate of hardware and software to the table, so we're happy to talk through how that all might fit into Alter.
Well, I just want to tell churches, don't be afraid of the cost on this. Like Stephanie said, it's a tiered church, so depending on our tiered system, so how many people you have in your church will determine how much you pay, and it's really, really affordable. Alter is really a ministry to our churches and the world. So don't be afraid of the technology. You will get all the help you need. Reach out, because I really feel like this is the wave of the future, and it might just be answering every question you've had about doing digital. So, and I love, we are learning together. So thank you. Thank you for including me in this conversation. I really, really appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you, Angela. Well, we're so excited, and we can't wait to see what churches do with this.
Yeah, me too. I'm really excited. And if you do connect with Stephanie or Andy or their team, please let me know, because I want to know what your experience is. And we'll just keep passing that on, because we are a learning community here in the digital world. So that's important to keep sharing. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Okay.